The story of iKON is less a fairy tale of success and more a gritty saga of survival against an industry designed to break them, beginning with the psychological torment of reality shows like Win and Mix and Match that forced them to compete for their dreams against their own friends, fostering a toxic environment of division before they even took the stage. The controversy reached a boiling point in 2019 when the group's backbone, leader and producer B.I. Hanbin, was ousted in a shocking drug scandal involving allegations of purchasing illegal substances, leaving the group fractured and the fans heartbroken by what felt like a betrayal of the family image their company had sold. Just as they stabilized, main rapper Bobby shattered the pristine idol fantasy by announcing a shotgun marriage and fatherhood, inciting backlash from a culture that demands romantic unavailability from its stars, proving that their personal lives were constantly under siege. Eventually, the narrative shifted from internal scandals to external warfare, as fans revolted against YG Entertainment's alleged mismanagement, leading to the group's dramatic exodus from their label to find freedom at 143 Entertainment, ultimately redefining themselves not as untouchable idols, but as scarred, resilient artists who refuse to let the industry's controversies erase their existence. Imagine being a teenager, training for years, sweating in a basement, and then being told your fate will be decided by a vote on live television. That was the reality for Team B, the pre-debut lineup of iKON. YG Entertainment, their agency, decided to turn their training period into a gladiator arena. They pitted two teams of trainees against each other, and the losers would be disbanded or potentially kicked out. This wasn't just a competition, it was psychological warfare. For months, these boys lived under the microscope, knowing that one wrong move, one bad vocal performance could mean the end of their dreams. The controversy here wasn't a leaked video or a rude comment, it was the sheer brutality of the system. Fans watched as these young men crumbled under the pressure, crying on screen, begging for a chance. And when Team B lost the show, the public outcry was deafening. People were furious at YG for dangling these kids' futures in front of them like a carrot and then snatching it away. But the cruelty didn't stop there. Instead of letting them debut, YG created a second show, Mix and Match. And this is where the first major fracture happened within the fandom. With Mix and Match, the company decided to shake the table. They introduced new trainees to compete for spots in the final lineup, threatening the bond that fans had fallen in love with. This sparked a massive controversy that set the tone for the group's entire career. The fandom was toxic, divided, and angry. You had fans screaming that the original 6 members were being disrespected, that they had already earned their spot. Then you had the underdogs, the new trainees, trying to break in. It was messy, it was emotional, and it felt manufactured. The addition of Chan Woo, the new member who eventually made the cut, was met with a cold shoulder from a significant portion of the fan base for years. They accused him of ruining the original bond, a narrative that was fueled by the show's manipulative editing. It was a controversy born out of passion, but it left scars. iKON debuted as 7, but the ghost of that survival show, the feeling that they were always fighting for their position, never really left them. They were pushed into the spotlight with a chip on their shoulder, told to conquer the world, but the world was already watching them with judgmental eyes. For a while, the noise died down as they started racking up wins, but the pressure to maintain that momentum was suffocating, and no one felt it more than the leader, B.I., also known as Hanbin. In the K-pop industry, the leader is the shield, the one who takes the hits. Hanbin was a prodigy, writing and producing their biggest hits, including Love Scenario. He was the engine of the group, but that kind of pressure comes with a breaking point. In June 2019, the K-pop world stopped spinning when a bombshell report dropped. A local news outlet released a report alleging that Hanbin had purchased illegal drugs, specifically LSD and marijuana, back in 2016. The report included screenshots of Kakao Talk messages that were incredibly damaging, showing conversations that appeared to show him discussing the purchase and usage of drugs with a female dealer. It was the kind of scandal that ends careers overnight. There was no spin that could fix this. The public reaction was a mix of shock and devastation, but mostly it was a betrayal. In South Korea, drug laws are incredibly strict, and for an idol, it is the ultimate taboo. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Hanbin posted a handwritten letter admitting to the police inquiry and expressing his shame. He stated that he had been tempted by curiosity but claimed he did not end up using the drugs. However, in the court of public opinion, the admission of intent was enough. He stepped down from the group and left YG Entertainment that very same day. Just like that, the leader, the main producer, and the face of iKON was gone. It wasn't just a member leaving, it was an amputation. Fans were in shambles, feeling like the rug had been pulled out from under them. The controversy deepened when the female dealer involved in the case began speaking out on social media, alleging threats and investigations that painted an even darker picture. The police raids, the tests. Hanbin tested negative for drug use during the police investigation, which gave fans a sliver of hope, but the damage was done. He had admitted to the purchase, and that was the end of his tenure as an idol under YG. The industry analysts watched closely, wondering if iKON could survive without their primary songwriter and leader. Most groups would have folded. The scandal didn't just tarnish iKON's image, it shattered the family narrative that YG had built up for years. It showed that when push comes to shove, the company would cut ties instantly, regardless of talent or history. For 2 years, iKON had to navigate the storm without their captain. They promoted as six, trying to keep the ship afloat while the public whispered about their past. They joined the competition show Kingdom Legendary War in 2021, which was controversial in itself. Critics felt they shouldn't be on a show with rookies since they were already considered established artists. Others thought it was a desperate move for relevance after the scandal, but they pushed through, showing resilience. However, just when it seemed like things were stabilizing, another curveball hit, and this time it was about personal lives clashing with the idol fantasy. In August 2021, Bobby, the group's main rapper and arguably the most famous member after Hanbin, dropped a bombshell on Instagram. He posted a photo of a letter announcing that he was getting married and that his fiancée was pregnant. Now, in the Western music industry, this would be a congratulatory moment, but in K-pop, this is radioactive. The idol image is built on the fantasy of availability to fans. Marriage and pregnancy are often seen as a betrayal of that fantasy. Netizens erupted. While many international fans sent well wishes, the Korean online community was ruthless. Comments flooded forums calling him irresponsible, accusing him of rushing things and questioning his dedication to the group. He was only 25 years old. The timing was scrutinized. Fans did the math, speculated on the pregnancy timeline, and the rumor mill went into overdrive. Some even questioned if this was the end of iKON's idol status, believing that a married father couldn't possibly maintain the same image. It was a harsh reality check on the possessive nature of K-pop fandom. Bobby had to apologize to fans in his announcement, which highlights just how upside down the priorities are in this industry. You have to say sorry for falling in love and starting a family because it disrupts the business model. Amidst all this, the legal situation with Hanbin was finally reaching a conclusion. In 2021, the court sentenced him to 3 years of probation for the drug charges. He was technically free to work, but the stigma remained. He was a pariah in the mainstream media. Yet the controversies surrounding iKON weren't just about the members' personal failings or the pressure of fame. It was also about how they were being managed. By 2022, fans were getting increasingly vocal about YG Entertainment's treatment of the group. They were frustrated with the lack of comebacks, the lack of variety show appearances, and the feeling that the group was being shelved. The YG Dungeon narrative became a full-blown protest. Fans hired trucks to drive around the YG building with digital billboards demanding better treatment. It was a public relations nightmare for the company. The message was clear. The fans felt that YG was sabotaging the group's potential, refusing to promote them properly, and essentially letting them rot while other groups got the spotlight. It wasn't a scandal of their making, but it was a controversy of their circumstances, a battle between the artist and the corporation. This tension culminated in late 2022 and early 2023 with the shocking news that iKON was leaving YG Entertainment. After years of building the group, after surviving the survival shows and the scandals, the partnership was severed. All 6 members, Jinwon, Bobby, Song, Junho, Donguk, and Chanwoo, signed with a new agency, 143 Entertainment. On the surface, this looked like a fresh start, but industry insiders knew the truth. Leaving the big 3 agencies is a massive risk. You lose the funding, the connections, and the safety net. The controversy shifted to speculation. Were they forced out? Did YG see them as damaged goods after the Hanbin scandal and Bobby's marriage? Or was this a bold move for freedom? The fact that they moved together was a testament to their bond, but the industry is ruthless to groups not backed by a major label. And then there was the Hanbin question. He couldn't join them immediately due to the severity of his scandal and the broadcasting bans in South Korea. However, in a twist that felt like a drama script, he was appointed as an executive director at iKON Company, signaling a shift behind the scenes. The narrative was no longer about the perfect idol group. It was about a group of men who had been chewed up and spit out by the machine, trying to piece their lives back together. In 2025, iKON is still active, still releasing music under their new label, and they have even reconciled publicly with Hanbin in various capacities, hinting at a bond that goes beyond corporate contracts. But the path was never the straight straight line to the top that YG promised them back in 2015. It was a jagged, messy line stained by controversy, public scrutiny, and the harsh reality of an industry that builds idols up only to tear them down for sport. They survived the survival shows, they survived the loss of their leader, and they survived the industry's backlash against marriage. The controversies didn't break them, but they definitely redefined them. They are no longer the perfect idols. They are the ones who refuse to disappear, flaws and all.